In the stillness of eternity, long before the world as we know it was even a whisper, a sound echoed through the heavens that had never been heard before. It wasn't a song of praise, nor the triumphant blast of a trumpet. It was the sound of a voice, one that once shone brighter than the morning star, now trembling with the first stirrings of rebellion. His name was Lucifer, the anointed cherub, a being of radiant and breathtaking glory. His beauty was the talk of the heavenly hosts. His voice, a magnificent instrument, had led the celestial choirs in songs of unimaginable splendor. But on this fateful day, something inside him had shifted. Pride, a seed so small, had been nurtured in secret until it had grown into a raging storm within his heart. He gazed upon the throne of the Almighty, and a whisper, silent yet powerful, formed in his spirit. I will ascend above the stars of God. I will sit upon the mount of the congregation. I will be like the Most High. And with that audacious thought, the heavens held their breath. A profound silence fell. The angelic hosts, millions upon millions, turned their gaze toward the throne. The seraphim, with their fiery wings, ceased their endless song of Holy, Holy, Holy. The cherubim, guardians of the divine presence, fell utterly silent. All of heaven watched as the light that once carried pure worship now burned with a strange, defiant fire. Then Lucifer raised his voice, and the very atmosphere of heaven began to warp and shift. His words were like honey, sweet and persuasive, yet wrapped in the subtle poison of deceit. He spoke of a new order, a different kind of freedom, and a third of the heavenly host, mesmerized by his charisma and his promises, listened, and they believed. But before this simmering rebellion could erupt into open war, a voice of unimaginable power thundered through the expanse of eternity. It was the voice of the Almighty. Lucifer, son of the morning, what have you become? The heavens shook at the sound. Flashes of divine lightning illuminated the faces of the stunned angelic beings. A great, heavy silence fell over all of creation, a silence filled with sorrow and impending judgment. And then, stepping out from the ranks of the loyal, came the Archangel Michael. His sword, forged in the very flame of divine justice, blazed with the intensity of a newborn star. He stood firm, a bastion of loyalty against the rising tide of pride. Lucifer, undeterred, spoke again, his voice dripping with newfound arrogance. I am not your servant. I will not bow. I will rise. Michael's reply was not a shout, but a clear, powerful declaration that pierced straight through the web of deception. Then your light will be swallowed by darkness, for there is no throne higher than his. The clash that followed was not one of mere physical violence, but a cataclysm of glory against pride. The throne room, the very heart of heaven, erupted with raw power. Angels who had stood side by side for eons were now divided, forced to choose their allegiance. The loyal angels lifted their swords of fire, their faces set with righteous resolve. The rebels, in turn, lifted their words of pride, their weapons of choice being doubt and ambition. And as Lucifer decisively turned his back on the throne, the first war in heaven began. It was a conflict that sent shockwaves through the fabric of existence. Stars seemed to burn out. Trumpets roared with notes of alarm and battle. The sound of thunder rolled through the celestial realms like colossal waves crashing upon an eternal shore. Michael and his loyal host rose like a storm of pure light, a whirlwind of divine fury cutting through the ranks of the rebellion. Lucifer, the being once crowned in unparalleled beauty, was now cloaked in growing shadows, his brilliance dimming with every act of defiance. The battle raged through the heavens, shaking the very pillars of creation. But this was never a battle between two equal forces. It was a battle whose outcome had been decided from the moment the first rebellious thought was conceived. For no amount of darkness, no matter how persuasive or powerful it may seem, can ever overcome the one who sits on the throne of eternal light. When the final decisive blow struck, it was not with a sword, but with a word of divine authority. Lucifer fell. Like a bolt of lightning streaking across a darkened sky, he was cast down from his exalted position. His voice, once a source of heavenly music, now echoed with the harsh, grating tones of bitterness and defeat. His imaginary throne, the one he coveted in his heart, turned to ash before his very eyes. And his new kingdom, the earth, would become the stage for his unrelenting fury. But before he fell completely into the abyss he had chosen, God spoke one last time. It was not a shout of anger, but a declaration of ultimate truth. Your time is short, your crown is broken, but even in your darkness, my light will shine brighter. And at that, Lucifer screamed. It was not a roar of power, but the raw, agonizing cry of ultimate defeat. The heavens trembled one last time, and the world below, newly formed and innocent, was marked by the long shadow of his fall. But this story, our story, does not end with darkness. For every defiant roar of the enemy, there is a gentle whisper of redemption. For every throne of lies that is erected, there stands a rugged cross of absolute truth. Lucifer's fall is a solemn warning, but it is not his victory. His rebellion is a tragic chapter, but it is not the end of the story. The king still reigns. And one day, the one who fell like lightning will be brought face to face with the very light he tried to replace. And on that day, every knee will bow, in heaven and on earth and under the earth, and every tongue will confess that the throne of all creation belongs to him and him alone. Thank you so much for journeying through this epic story with us today. If this message resonated with you, please consider liking the video and subscribe to our channel for more content that explores the depths of faith and scripture. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Until next time, stay blessed.